Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's The Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur Heneka Watkis-Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
Coming up on this episode of The Entrepreneurial You.
Everybody's doing some level of content marketing. So even if it's not blogging, they're creating content and it's producing valuable results for them. If you're not creating that content, you're not going to drive that traffic. Traffic then, valuable, useful, relevant traffic leads to results.
Hi, I'm Heneka Watkis-Porter, your inspirational leader and host of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Jamaica Stock Exchange. And now let's go to today's episode. The founder of the content marketing / digital agency Razor Social, which is one of the most popular marketing blogs globally, is on episode 78 of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. He's also the founder of the email outreach software, Outreach Plus, which helps companies drive more traffic and sales for their products and services through personalized email outreach. He is a regular keynote speaker at marketing conferences and is a writer for Forbes. I'm happy to welcome Ian Cleary to the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Welcome, Ian.
Well, thank you very much, Heneka. I'm delighted to be on, and thank you very much for having me on this wonderful show.
It's indeed my absolute pleasure. And the question I want to open with is, have you ever been to Jamaica?
I haven't been to Jamaica, and I really want to go to Jamaica. So, so you need to sort out an opportunity where the two of us can meet in Jamaica someday.
Of course, and I will definitely do that. I'm excited already.
And the other question is, have you ever been to Ireland?
Never, and I would so love to be in Ireland. Like, I want to travel the world. It's part of my bucket list, to travel the world. I've gone a few countries thus far, including India. Like, one of my most memorable experiences happened in India, where I spent 2 months really.
Wow, because I was in India years ago as well, and that was one of the most memorable experiences. It's an interesting country to travel around.
Oh yeah. And you just cannot go in there and spend a week or something. You need a long time to understand and appreciate the country, the culture, everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So we are going to be talking, Ian, about getting results and results that we really want, measurable, meaningful results from content and digital marketing. Before we dive into all of those questions, what I'd love to get from you is a background into your journey and into the development of Razor Social.
Sure, no problem. I suppose my background is in technology. So I spent about 15 years working in software companies, and I typically worked in small startup companies. But one company I worked in was acquired by a bigger company and then a bigger company again. So I ended up in this big corporate job, which I didn't like at all. I lasted about 6 months. And then I said to my wife, no, we need to do something ourselves. Because I was dabbling in all sorts of entrepreneurial things on the side, but we said, let's take a jump and do something bigger. So we both left our corporate jobs. We bought a house with a lower mortgage. We reduced all our bills. And then we started our entrepreneurial journey full time. And I started initially doing some project management. I done some social media training locally in Ireland. And then I was trying to build a product. It didn't work out. As with any entrepreneur, there's always some failures along the way. So the product didn't work out. And I really wanted to do something international. And I didn't have a good idea. So I said, I'm going to write a blog. And I'm going to create the blog and build an audience. And based on that audience, then I'm going to, figure out how I'm going to monetize that audience once I have it in place. So that's where I started Razor Social.
It's an interesting journey, and look at it now. I mean, it has built momentum for sure. It's globally recognized and it's doing extremely well. Congrats to you.
Well, something's working. Heneka from Jamaica rings me and says, hey, come on my podcast. So something is working.
Amazing, right? I love that. And that's the value of and the beauty of being online and being in this digital age. Like, you can be in Ireland and of course I'm in Jamaica, and it doesn't prevent us from connecting and it doesn't prevent us from doing initiatives together. So that's pretty amazing.
It is. And like one of my biggest passions is travel and people. So I love meeting new, interesting people and I love traveling. So this is part of this job as well. I get to travel. I'm just back from Finland last week. I was in Belgrade a couple of weeks before that. So traveling, meeting, connecting with great people is just brilliant. And that's why Jamaica is definitely on my list as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And trust me, and you talk about traveling and meeting people, that's me as well. So we've got to talk off air, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All righty. Okay. So when we think of digital marketing and content marketing, kind of give us an overview of the two. And is one the daughter of the other?
Yeah, it's funny. I suppose with content marketing is a part of digital marketing, but a very crucial part. So, for example, when we launched our new tool, we build a website, and that's part of digital marketing. You need a website so people can find you. But then you go, well, how am I going to generate traffic to that website? It's not going to be a brochure website. I need to then build, really relevant content targeted at what people are searching at to drive traffic into the site. And then once I have traffic, then digital marketing continues, because then I think, okay, well, how am I going to convert that traffic and how am I going to optimize the conversion of that traffic? And then from the content side, you go, okay, now I have something useful to share across social media channels, another part of digital marketing. And then, when you're building an audience there and sharing valuable content, that's driving people back to your website. So content marketing is a part of your digital marketing. But if you don't have good content to share in this day and age, you're really in trouble.
You have your website, for example. So as you're alluding to, that's pretty much like your brochure, like your online brochure, but you need content to be driving people to go see that brochure so that they can get all the offerings that you have.
Yeah, exactly. So you tease people with super valuable, useful content. So typically when I'm writing posts, generally it's at least 1,000 words and sometimes up to 5,000 words, or really good quality videos. And what I'm trying to do is share as much knowledge as possible. And I like to make my content very actionable, easy to follow and actionable, because what I really want is somebody to implement something, see some benefit, and then go, hey, that was great. I'm going to sign up to Ian's email list, to hear about more content. Because when somebody finds your blog post, the first time, they're not necessarily looking for a product. So people think, okay, you write a piece of content, people are not buying. Well, they're not buying yet. But if you convince them to maybe opt into an email list after they received a good piece of content, then you can continue to provide valuable content, and then you can open up opportunities for them to buy. So you could say, hey, I'm running a webinar now, another form of digital marketing, and make an offer there, or just make an offer within your email sequences.
All right. So when we talk about content marketing, in addition to blog posts, like you've mentioned before, what are some of the other areas content that we can create to drive traffic to our business?
Yeah, I suppose when people talk about content, they immediately think of written text, but it's not that. Content marketing, you could be on YouTube creating video content. So that could be video content. It could be audio content. It could be a podcast you're running, on visual content. It's all part of content marketing. And typically, if you create like a YouTube channel and you're creating video content, well, you could still create a blog post which is related to the video content, and that gives Google then a chance to rank you on search results within Google. And then you have also a chance of ranking within YouTube. So think about where's your main area for creating content. You'll generally find people are like they're either a podcaster, a YouTube person, or a blogger. So I'm a blogger, so I'll start off with text content on my blog. But then I will take that text content and I'll create a YouTube video all around that piece of content. And then I've started recently creating some audio content because people like seeing it on audio as well. So yeah, define what's your core way of creating your content, and then look at other channels of how you can actually, create that content across in other formats.
Mm-hmm. And so when we're thinking about developing a content marketing plan, what are some of the basic elements that we need to be considering, things that we must include, points that we need to be mindful of?
Sure. I suppose the first thing you start off is you go, well, what's your target audience? Who's the persona of the type of people you're targeting? And that could be one particular person or multiple people. Understand their needs and wants. So you need to look at it as, well, what do we want and what does our audience wants that's related to what we have? And then, mix the two of them together and come up with content that's valuable for our audience, but also useful for us. So there's a link, you're linking back to your products and services. So you create that personas and then you start going, okay, I'm going to do some research now. So I'm going to start researching across different social channels. I'm going to research across Quora, for example, different forums to figure out what are people talking about that's relevant to what I'm selling. And then I'm going to start building out a list of topics. And then I'm going to start doing keyword research on those topics. Then I'm going to map out all the content that I'm going to create over the next 3 to 6 months and create an editorial plan. And then I'm going to start creating that content. I'm going to optimize that content for Google, for example, to give me the best chance. While that's happening, I'm going to build an audience across different places like social media or through forums or groups that I have. So then when I have that content, I have an opportunity to promote it. So you create the content, you distribute it across the different channels. You might involve maybe some influencers in your content. And then you would reach out to outbound marketing, reaching out to the influencers when it's published, and hopefully they will promote it as well. Then you start getting visitors back into your site. So when you get visitors back into your site, 70% of visitors to your website will never come back again. So if they're never going to come back again, you need to capture their details. And that's where you would typically build, an email list. And that's still extremely important. So you capture people's details in an email list. And then you start communicating with these people on a regular basis. And then you give them opportunities to buy your product and service, either through initial email sequence or in the future when you're running webinars or events or anything. So you're always thinking about, how do I capture that audience that reads my content?
Excellent content that I've been receiving from you, Ian. At this point, I'm going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to be looking at in what ways are some of those major brands using content marketing effectively as part of their strategy for business growth. Let's take a break. This review comes from Alex CPDS out of the USA. And Alex writes, love the point of view that Heneka brings to the podcast. Yes, many podcasters out there talk about creating a plan for yourself and then following through. But what makes this podcast special is that the hosts keep the specific listener in mind with the topics. Her guests are from all over the world and provide a much broader perspective on getting stuff done. I'll be tuning in regularly. Thank you, Alex. Alex is out of the US. And certainly I welcome your rate, review, and subscription in Apple Podcasts. I look forward to hearing from you. It means a lot to me that you are listening. I'm not just creating this podcast for myself, but you are listening, and that means a lot to me. So thank you very much. Keep the reviews coming. I look forward to receiving them. And you may just hear it read right here live on the Entrepreneurial You podcast. LeaderCast Woman 2018 is happening October 12 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Attend LeaderCast Woman 2018 and learn how you can be a leader who motivates people and champion ideas in ways you never thought possible. Register now at HenekaWatkis-Porter.com or call 876-849-2571 to claim your 20% discount for a limited time only. That's HenekaWatkis-Porter.com or 876-849-2571 to claim your 20% discount for a limited time. Get noticed, make a great first impression, and build trust with potential customers and clients. StudioCraft Professional Headshots helps business leaders and entrepreneurs just like you look remarkably confident at their studio in Kingston, Jamaica. Visit StudioCraftJA.com today and enter offer code TEY20 when booking to receive a 20% discount on your first professional headshot session. StudioCraft Professional Headshots, helping professionals look remarkable. Do you have a product or service to put out to the world, but you don't know where to begin? Do you have an idea for a blog, but think that having a website is just way too expensive? Do you want to start a website, but don't know where to begin? If you answered yes to any of these questions, visit HenekaWatkis-Porter.com and sign up to HostGator web hosting. For as little as $2.75 per month, you can have the perfect option for your small site or blog. You'll have user-friendly building tools and unlimited domains. Go to HenekaWatkis-Porter.com and sign up now for your perfect websites. Welcome back. And my guest today has been Cleary, founder of Razor Social, which is one of the most popular marketing blogs globally. Ian has been sharing with us earlier about content marketing and the importance of it, and we delve a little into the difference between content marketing and digital marketing and see how they are related. So let's continue, Ian, and as we talk about how it is that some of these major brands worldwide are using content marketing as part of their strategy for business growth.
Everybody's doing some level of content marketing. So even if it's not blogging, they're creating content and it's producing, valuable results for them. If you're not creating that content, you're not going to drive that traffic, and it's traffic then, valuable, useful, relevant traffic leads to results. So I'll give an example. There's a company called Cleveland Clinic. So they're in the health industry. And separate to their clinic, they have a site called Health Essentials. And that, in there, you'll see all sorts of valuable, useful content. So it's like a separate microsite. And they're trying to attract a particular audience, that site. And everything on that site is valuable and useful. But of course, they're building their subscribers. They're building their brand. They're creating podcasts and live broadcasts and Instagram stories. So that is super valuable when people create these, niche microsites. I always look at Red Bull as well. In terms of when you look at Red Bull, the drink, you think of excitement, you think of fun.
And wings, Red Bull gives you wings.
Wings, absolutely. When you look at the content they produce, amazing videos and a lot of it's linked into sporting activities, which totally represents the brand. And they're just amazing at content marketing. And content marketing, they understand as well, is they're not creating this content to drive people to a website to convert. What they're doing is creating the brand and getting the brand name out there and getting people to understand what their brand is about and creating that excitement and interest. And then people are going off and buying the products and services. So I suppose the content marketing is not always about, come to my site and buy now. It's, it's building that brand and building that reputation as well.
When we think about content marketing, does one size fits all for everybody?
If you look at Red Bull, huge expense, big media productions. Then you go to the lower end where it's an entrepreneur on their own. They're building their own videos. Now, what Red Bull has to deliver is a massive audience and they have a massive budget. For an entrepreneur on the other end of the scale, they're looking to build a smaller business and can still get by and build an audience. And they may not have polished production, but they can still identify a niche audience and really target in that niche. For someone like Red Bull, it's very broad. They're looking at a very broad audience. So it's a massive audience. But if you can narrow down to a particular niche, it's easy to build that audience. So I'll give you an example. When I started Razor Social, it started off as a social media blog. But what I looked at is social media blogs was the most competitive area because everybody in social media has a blog. So I looked at, well, how can I make that different to everybody else? Well, I started off talking about social media tools because that was popular content, but nobody in the social media world had the experience I had in technology, and nobody just covered the tools. So quickly then I was able to grow an audience. Like within 2 years, I was generating 100,000 visitors a month. And that was just myself producing a couple of articles a week. So you do need to look at if you don't have the big budget, you need to go, well, let's focus on why am I different than everyone else? I could be different because of the value of the content I produce. It could be different because I'm targeting a different audience or, a different format, but I need to be different somehow.
You talked about in 2 years and that you were able to see over 100,000 visitors to your blog. What is the kind of turnaround time and investment in time, before we can see a return on our investment where inbound marketing is concerned, digital marketing is concerned, and content marketing in particular?
I don't see a reason. I suppose when you start off a product, any product, it takes a while before people start trusting the brand and start talking about the brand and then start buying. But if you start off and create like one super valuable piece of content for your target audience and you build an email subscriber, once you have an email subscriber, then you can build a sequence to make an offer. So there's no reason why in the first couple of weeks you can't actually generate a sale from super valuable content you've created. Now, maybe you won't get the scale in terms of the sales that you really want, but don't think you're going to go, oh, well, I'm going to create content for a year and then I'm going to get some sales. Okay, so maybe Google won't give you traffic for at least 6 months. It normally takes 6 to 12 months before Google starts sending you any good traffic. But you still can build your social audience. You can still reach out to people. You can do outbound marketing, find a targeted audience and reach out. And once then you can get traffic back. And anyway, now you can see, can I build an email list and can I actually convert that list? Just don't wait around for Google to send you traffic. You need to go out and get that traffic in other ways. And over time, this gets easier. You don't have to do as much promotion because people get to know that you provide good content, it's valuable and it's useful. And then you have an audience already to promote it to.
They become raving fans, and so word gets around.
Exactly.
What are your final thoughts on our subject matter today, Ian? Before you give away, I know you have some discount codes that you want to share, as well as we want to hear how our community of peak performers can get in touch with you. But before all of that, leave your final thoughts with us.
So my final thoughts are really that content marketing is super important. And the most important thing is valuable, useful content. So I would say produce less content, but produce more valuable content. Don't try and compete with bigger brands that are posting loads and loads of posts every day. Or if you are a bigger brand, you still don't have to promote loads of posts. If you do less art, less content, but higher quality, that generates better results. So in terms of contacting me, at Ian Cleary on Twitter or razorsocial.com. My new site is Outreach Plus. So because I got good at content marketing, we built a software tool to help people promote their content, reach out to influencers, promote to journalists over email, and we help automate and simplify all that. And that's Outreach Plus. And if people are interested, there's a code for a save 20. A save 20. If you go to the checkout and enter that, you get a 20% lifetime discount on the product, especially for this audience.
It has been my absolute pleasure speaking with you, Ian. I've been talking with Ian Cleary, and he's the founder of Razor Social, which is one of the most popular marketing blogs globally. Thank you so much for spending time with us today on the Entrepreneurial You, and we look forward to hearing more from you, more about your business, and success on your onward journey. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Heneka, for having me. It's a pleasure to be on here, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in Jamaica someday.
We have come to the end of another great episode of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Remember to subscribe in Apple Podcast and download all the episodes that you would have missed if you have not already subscribed and downloaded the episodes, and play them to the end as well, because good stuff is always at the end too. So do that, as well as go and leave a rate and review right now. I'd appreciate that. It helps a lot because I put a lot of effort into creating this free content, and it does help when I know that it is of significant value to you. So show your love by going to Apple Podcasts and just leave a rate and review. And when you leave that review, do send me an email at heneka.watkis-porter@gmail.com, because I'd love to be able to read them in an upcoming episode. And if I'm not notified, I won't know it's there, because unless you go into all the different stores in Apple, there is no way that I can actually know that a review was left or a current review was left. So it's important that when you leave your review, you send me an email, let me know about it so I can go look for it and read it live on an episode of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Heneka Watkis-Porter. Remember, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. Walk good.